Okay, number 11. What is the value of x in this equation? Okay, and this is a griddable. You're going to have to grid it in so you don't have anything to guess and check with. But you should know how to work an equation. So 2x plus 2 equals to negative 52. So in an equation, what you do to one side, you do to the other side. Okay, so divide my equation in half. I want to get all my numbers over to this right side. So I'm going to subtract 2 from both sides. That turns out to be 0. That leaves me with 2x. Okay, we're dealing with integers. I'm going to have to add these integers. So that's where this little trick comes in. Make your t-chart. Your negative and your positive. So I have a negative 52 and a negative 2. They're both on the same side, so I'm going to add them. So 52 plus 2 is 54, and they're both negative, so that's a negative 54. To undo multiply, I divide. So I'm just going to divide by 2. So 2 goes into 54 2 times, and 2 goes into 14 7 times. All right, so x is equal to a negative 27 because a negative divided by a positive is a negative, which is our other little integer trick. Negative divided by positive, cover those up. Our answer is negative. Okay, so you can double check this by plugging this in. I'm saying x is the same thing as negative 27. So I'm saying instead of x, I can write negative 27 plus 2 equals to negative 52. Well, 27 times 2 is 54, and that's going to be a negative because a negative and a positive make a negative, plus 2. All right, if I use my little t-chart, I've got a negative 54 and a positive 2. They're on opposite sides, so I'm going to have to subtract. That's going to give me a negative 52, which equals to a negative 52, which is correct. Okay, because sometimes when you mess up on these, you might get 27, but you might forget that it's negative. So make sure you double check. So this is going to be a negative. We have to bubble in the negative. It's 27, so that's going to go in front of the decimal, because if the decimal is out of sight, the decimal is to the right. All right, number 12. A music club has 15 members. Each member pays monthly dues of $14.60. On the first day of the month, 8 members paid their dues. The remaining members paid their dues on the second day of the month. How much money was collected in dues on the second day of the month? Okay, read. Sometimes it's just a matter of reading carefully. Okay, we have 15 members and they pay $14.60. But it's not asking me how much I would get if everybody paid. It's asking me how much everybody paid on the second day. Well, on the first day, 8 people paid. So there's 15 altogether. On the first day, 8 paid. So that leaves me that leaves me 7 for the second day. So that's what I'm being asked. How much money was collected on the second day? So I'm going to multiply that 7 times that $14.60. 7 times 0 is 0. 7 times 6 is 42. 7 times 4 is 28. Plus 4 is 32. And 7 times 1 is 7. Plus 3 is 10. I've got 2 numbers behind the decimal place, so I need 2 numbers behind the decimal place. And that's 102.20. So I answered my question. Sometimes you can do a lot of math and not answer your question. All right, number 13. 2 rectangles were used to form the following figure. Use the ruler provided to measure the dimensions of the figure to the nearest quarter of an inch. Okay, so on your handy dandy reference material, you have a ruler in centimeters and you have a ruler that is in inches. Okay, this is asking us to measure in inches. Which measurement is closest to the area of the shaded region of this figure in square inches? Okay, so we're going to go with inches. You have to line it up. So I've got 3 inches. This is 3 inches. Okay, line up my ruler. This, halfway between 2 and 3, this is 2.5 inches. Okay, I've got to measure my inner rectangle also. Okay, so I'm lining it up. This is 2 inches. Got to measure my other dimension. Okay, so here's 1 inch, and here's a 1/2 inch, so this is 1.5 inches. All right, so I only want the measurement of the shaded, so I'm gonna have to find the measure of the whole rectangle and then subtract out the unshaded part. So to find the area of a rectangle is base times height. Okay, so I'm going to multiply my 3 and my 2.5. Put my 2.5 on top. All right, so 2.5 times 3 is 7.5. That's for the whole rectangle. I need to subtract off the unshaded part. So that's 1.5 times 2, which is 3. Okay, so I'm going to take my 7.5 and subtract off my 3. I'm going to line up my decimals. All right, so 7.5 minus 3 is 4.5, which is not an answer choice. Okay, so sorry about that. So we're going to have 4.5 inches squared.